What's up, YouTube community? We're back. In person this time.
Finally.
This is rare, bro.
It
Especially
is.
during COVID times for us to actually be sitting down.
Yeah, I actually came here with a mask on.
I made him get checked before we started the video. His temperature is fine. We're good to go.
Yep.
But I'm really excited for this, bro. I appreciate you. I know you're doing your road trip around Florida, making your stop here before you head home. Today is an interesting day. We have a lot that we're going to talk about, but as we speak right now, gold sits just over 1,900 an ounce, which is like the fifth time in history that it's ever been that high. We're probably going to cross the all-time high of 1920
for sure
in the next couple of days.
For sure.
Silver up to 2264, platinum up to over 900 now, 918, and palladium 2222. That's a sign of abundance right there, my friend. So with all of the money that we're seeing being printed and all of the things that we're going to talk about, the first thing that you said before we jump into all of that was that you actually have no money in your Forex trading account. And you and I actually know each other from Forex trading. So I want to start there. But before we get into that, I do have to give a shout out to Autonomous for the desks. They've hooked us up. You guys know I've been using the standing desk now for how long? Riley, you convinced me to do this, like 3 years ago. I held out, bro. On the first time that I was going to get that desk over there where I trade from, I held out. I was like, I don't want to spend the money. I don't need it. Dude, I regretted it instantly. I was like, I should have bought this years ago. I'm not even just saying, like, I love my standing desk. So if you don't have one, you should get one. And everybody that's watching, 20% off. I'll put the code and the link in the description below. So seriously, I mean, for less than $400, I know most people watching have made a stupid mistake on a stupid bet or a stupid something for $400.
For sure.
This is your health. Like, we could raise this thing up, we could stand, we could do what we need to do now. So shout out to Autonomous, and we'll definitely make sure you get the link. Because now, look, if I'm going to join the Telegram chat, you got to get the desk. And then, dude, I'll get you on the Whoop bands too. I'll get you on everything. So first, before we get into everything going on with the metals and the market today, what's up with Forex? Why do you have no money in the account? What's going on?
I just see opportunities so much outside of Forex rather than trading currencies. That doesn't mean I'm opposed to Forex trading. I'm definitely going to fund the account with a larger account now because I have the means to, but in the time being, I'm placing my bets elsewhere out of currencies.
Can you give us an idea of where?
Yeah, precious metals.
So in particular precious metals, are you buying the physical metal, or we want to talk about the future stuff? Because like I was saying to you, I just talked to Tom Basso, who is big, a huge futures trader, and he's been a futures trader for such a long time. So are you buying the physical, or are you trying to go the futures route like someone like him?
So when I keep it traditional, when it's gold and silver, I'm buying physical.
Okay.
But now let me jump back to your future question. The reason why I haven't dove into futures is because to even take out a futures contract, you need X amount of contracts. So let me give a quick example. If I wanted to buy silver, I would have to have the capital of at least 2,000 ounces or whatever it is to take that contract out.
They call it like taking a stake, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So you would have to you can't just buy 1 ounce.
Right.
So if I did want to go into futures, you need capital to be able to afford these contracts. And another thing, when you do get futures contracts, they could always make more contracts than there is metal.
Interesting. So what does that mean to you?
That is central banking 101 right there. They could make up more than there is.
So you're saying because they can make more futures contracts, it doesn't, in your eyes, make it as valuable as actually owning them.
Exactly.
But and maybe you do both?
For sure. But don't rule out holding physical.
How much physical? That's where I'm at right now. Because now, like I just said to you, I've been buying more. Actually, just bought some more silver last week.
I think you can't overdo it.
Yeah? But then what about the problem of, like Tom said, when somebody comes into your house and says, open the safe? Or what about the problem where you have too many safes and you don't know where to put all of it? Then what?
There's custodial services that offer, storage for your precious metals. So you could always hold it with them and they'll give you a card linked to it. You can go swipe. You could have fun with it.
Peter Schiff's company is like that, right? The gold credit card thing?
Yeah.
And is that the same thing? You can do that with silver? You can do that with... I didn't know that. So that would be interesting because you can let it be stored somewhere else. You don't even have to think about it.
Exactly.
And that's kind of what I would do, I think, at some point. Because after, probably 3 to 6 months of savings in that precious metal, it's going to start to get heavy. You know what I mean?
For sure.
It does, especially silver. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Gold's a little bit more expensive right now.
It is.
One coin is going to cost you close to $2,000. If not over $2,000. I mean, some of these websites, bro, they jack up the premiums.
The premiums, it's way over spot.
I have to look at 3 different websites sometimes when I'm trying to buy this stuff just to get the best price. You know what I mean? And I actually went with the Scottsdale Mint just because their price on their limited pieces, which like they individually have to make. I should have brought them out here. Right. If you want to if you could grab one from the safe, I appreciate it. Dude, they're so cool, but they're custom made. So I was like, how is it that this one is cheaper than me going to like APMX or JM Bullion or whatever.
Thank you for that one, by the way. I never heard of that one.
APMX.
Yeah.
Dude, again, that's just me doing 20 minutes of research,
Yeah.
30 minutes, whatever I was doing, just to try to find the best price because it's so expensive over spot.
It is.
But where do we go from here now? Because when you look at it on a chart, dude, everybody's like, gold's going to pull back. I know it's going to pull back. It's got to pull back.
And even if it does pull back, get more.
Right. That's when you buy more.
Yeah.
But what's interesting, so just on like a technical basis, I took it, and maybe we can overlay a chart or something in this video, but I was looking at gold today. On the daily chart, it hit overbought on its RSI that we use. It's a 21 period RSI. When it hit overbought
I use RSI as well.
pre-2011, 2010, right, leading into the high when it touched 1920, when it hit overbought, it was at 1400. So the first time it hit overbought, it was at 1400, but the whole move extended
To 19.
to 1900. So
Wow.
even though it was overbought, it continued to be overbought for a long time. So these indicators sometimes, I think, in certain markets, do you ever find that the indicators don't work as well? Like when you're looking at like the dollar index, it's like indicators aren't as accurate there as they are with Forex pairs, in my opinion. At least maybe that's just my experience now.
Well, remember, indicators only can go back so far. So if something starts trading at a price for X amount of time, that indicator will find a new average. And that's what happened with gold. So yeah, at 1400, it was overbought. But now we've been trading, progressively higher than 1400 for some time now. So now overbought has adjusted to calculate that overbought now is at 1900.
So now the people are saying with the gold to silver ratio that we were talking about last time,
Yeah.
that's supposed to average back down at about 60. That's where its averages over time. And right now it's at like 80.
Yeah.
So that would mean that silver has a lot more upside potential.
Well, let's not even look at the ratio. Let's look at the actual individuals. So let's look at gold. We're already at its all-time high, basically.
Right.
Now let's look at silver. We're not even close.
You're like halfway there, just
Yeah,
about.
you could double your money.
Yeah. You got
So
one? As
we're good.
Take
We're
the
good.
camera down.
we're
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, you can put them down. These are the silver. So these are the kilos. Feel that.
Oh, that's heavy.
Heavy.
Damn.
Yeah, bro.
That's heavy. That's for real heavy.
Yes, bro.
You could work out with this.
Yeah, so I'm like, so Tom makes a good point, not to bounce topics too much on everybody, but I mean, listen, this is just 1 kilo. I mean, this is not that expensive. This is just a couple $100s. So for someone that's really looking to pump a lot of money into these things, your safe is going to get full pretty quick. And it's going to get, 50 of these would be probably too heavy for me alone to carry. 100 of them, you know what I mean, would be impossible. So I don't know. I think it's interesting to consider that at the same time. And that's why for me, I think part of my future as an investor is going to include the futures contracts, just because I want to be able to take advantage of some of these movements that I'm seeing on a technical chart without actually going and buying palladium or buying silver or buying whatever it is. If I think it's going to move up, I want to buy some, but also trade that and see if I can ride that trend. You know what I mean?
I like how you're actually branching out of currencies and you're seeing value elsewhere.
Bro, the truth is you just need to make a little money first and then you can actually start to diversify. A lot of people try to diversify first and then they don't get to the point of actually being able to make money in other avenues because their buckets are too empty across the whole board. I went all in on one bucket for 5 years, put all the money into one, and now have enough to diversify out. So that was just the strategy that I approached it with. I haven't seen anybody go from diverse and save a little bit here, no, you don't make any money there. You actually have to be, in my opinion, like aggressive or have a strategy that actually puts you forward.
For sure.
What do you think about life insurance?
I don't know enough to give an opinion about it.
Dude, you're single. So let me give you some facts on it. Let me give you some info because I am kind of educated on it. So backstory on this is I was a life insurance rep in college, and that's what actually showed me what day trading was. So I was as an intern for Northwestern Mutual trying to sell life insurance, and then no one would buy life insurance from me because I was 19. So, and it's funny because now her brother, and she did the internship too or she did it a year after me, not in the same program, but different programs, just funny. And her brother's actually a life insurance rep now for the same company. I ended up realizing that no one would buy life insurance from a 19-year-old. I just accepted that. So I started to study for my Series 7 so I could sell stocks because I was like, I know people are going to want to buy stocks from me. I know it. In that process, I guess just stumbled across day trading. I think these people like making way more than 6 or 7% a year. And I just fell in love with it because it fit every bill that I wanted. And that's when I was like introduced to day trading. But I came into it from selling life insurance. So back to the original topic. Life insurance to me has always been something that I found value in, and also because I've seen it impact people's lives personally. So like if you ever were to get sick or, actually die, you don't leave your family effed up.
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Especially when you have student loans.
Yeah, I
or you have
understand the
other debt.
concept behind it.
So what I've done for me and Riley is gone with this. I have to give credit to the guy. His name is Garrett Gunderson. He is really promoting on his YouTube channel, and I can link that too, this idea of cash flow banking. And he wrote a book called What Would the Rockefellers Do? And I have the PDF. I can give it to you if you'd like. And basically, he talks about how the Rockefellers made their family wealth last way longer than the Vanderbilts, two really famous families that a lot of people know about, right, from back when America was just first being founded in the Industrial
I
Revolution.
talk a lot about that in my course, by the way.
Really?
Yeah, a lot.
So then this would probably resonate with you. So the Vanderbilts basically are broke. They don't exist anymore, but the Rockefellers still do. They've made that fortune last.
Yep.
The reason for that is because the foundation of it is built in this infinite banking system that you can create with your own cash flow life insurance policies. So they're overfunded, cash value, whole life policies, not any of that term bullshit. Listen, term policies, for anybody that's thinking about buying life insurance, term policies will actually pay out less than 2%. Meaning most people that buy term pay, and never get paid back because they don't die while the term happens. Term is a scam, in my opinion. It's just a business for the insurance company. So what you do is you go with whole life, you put money into it every month, or you pay for it for the year, whatever you need to do, and it builds up cash value for you to the point where if you layer these policies, and you can then, and again, this is all Garrett's area, and he talks about in the book, but you can endow them, I think is the right word, to a trust. That trust can then actually be used to get even more policies out on individuals in the family, and you can layer all these life insurance policies that are building cash value for you. So I know I'm kind of going, but follow me. So as they build cash value, you can then go to the insurance company and say to them, hey, I have a whole life policy with you that has $500,000 in cash value. This is a couple years after you've been paying into it. It's getting, 7% a year tied to, a guaranteed return that the insurance company guarantees. This is a guarantee. You go to them and say, look, I have this $500,000 in cash value. I want a loan against myself. I don't want the 500 because you can take the 500. Cash value is tax-free money. You can tax-free money. So you could take it, but you don't. You take a loan against it. And now you don't have to go to Wells Fargo. You don't have to go to TD Ameritrade or Thinkorswim, whatever the bank, any of these banks.
Yeah.
You don't have to go to any bank. You can go to the insurance company and say to them, look, use the cash value as collateral and give me the 500 grand. And then when you pay that back, you can actually pay the money back with a little bit extra into the policy is the idea. And you can kind of keep it into this never-ending infinite banking system. Now, that's my explanation of it, and I'm not super educated. I'm not a financial advisor, so that's not investment advice.
Yeah.
But I would recommend that everybody just Googles infinite banking, cash flow banking. It's really interesting, and it's weird because it puts you in this point, and I want to hear your thoughts on it, but it puts me in this point where I know what I know, and I've seen the numbers, and I want to be like the Rockefellers, not the Vanderbilts. We want to have a legacy like that, and we are in the process of setting up a trust and doing those things. So why would I do anything but that? Would I go, for example, get $1,000 a month car payment or put $1,000 a month into life insurance? The car is cool, but if my goal is legacy, the life insurance is 100% a better decision.
Okay, so let me tell you my problem with that.
All right.
In hindsight, sounds phenomenal, just like socialism.
Sure.
The problem is if you're not able to move that money out of cash, because cash is trash.
Fair.
By the time you do get to reap the rewards of that cash,
Right.
I'm scared you're not going to be able to buy what you want to because it's lost so much of its purchasing value.
That could be. So you're saying like if Riley and I keep buying the policies, because like our plan is to buy them every year, if not multiple ones every year. So if we keep doing that, you're saying, well, yeah, you might have $3 million in cash value in 10 years.
It'll buy you a cup of milk.
Right. So if the dollar loses all its value, then it's not worth shit.
And I'm 100% sure it is.
And that's a very good point.
Yeah.
So maybe the idea would be it's never just put all your eggs in. It's not like, look, I only have 1,000 free. I'm going to put the 1,000.
Yeah.
Right. You know what I mean? This is extra where you're diversifying. But
remember, savers are going to get punished.
of course. But if you're putting this money there with money that you normally would be putting, let's just say at a Wells Fargo or a bank, I think this is definitely a better deferred savings account. And also it gives you the benefit of the life insurance, because if you were to, like, if you're a business owner like me and I was to pass, I wouldn't want to leave Riley with the things that she would have to deal with. You'd rather at least leave them with money and then the things they have to deal with too. You know
sure.
what I mean?
A better approach in my eyes would be, I think if this is not an idea already, somebody's going to listen to this and probably make it one. So let's say you started a life insurance policy, but instead of keeping it in cash value, they only keep a little bit of it in cash, and most of it goes into things that can appreciate or hold its buying power.
But they're never going to do that. Like
But they're
gold.
not going to do that.
No, they're not going to do that.
Exactly. If that was the case, then I'd get it today.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, the closest thing you'd probably get to that is putting money towards like somebody like Peter Schiff, who's in control of a fund that's investing in gold.
Speaking of him, and I'm not here to promote him in any sense of the way, but his fund, EPGFX, I was looking at it at like $6 a share.
What's it at now?
15.
Right. I was going to say
roughly
14. Right.
Roughly.
Right.
But the only way to get in there is
2,500.
Exactly.
Yeah. So you need a decent. But see, like now for me, am I better off putting a couple of shares into that, or am I better off opening a futures account?
Shares.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. I have to think about it because I also don't 100% know if gold. Like again, I do look at gold and I think maybe it does pull back a little bit. Maybe this is a new level at 2,000 and 1,900. How much higher does it go? In the long run, I think a lot higher. But in the short term, I'm like, again, you see I'm buying more silver right now than I am gold.
Now, you do know that the futures contracts expire. They have expiration dates.
Of course.
So if it doesn't meet your target, then...
You're either selling at a loss or... Right.
Exactly. Right. So now it's like you're still trading in a sense.
Sure.
With precious metals,
so you're saying it's still speculation.
It's still speculation.
For sure.
Especially, and like I said, you could only get a contract for so much amount of silver or gold or whatever it is you're looking at.
Right.
And some people can get delivery on it as well.
Right, I know.
Yeah.
That's the interesting thing.
What happens if everybody wants delivery? It's going to be a bank run just like back in the 1900s.
Or just like we saw on oil when nobody wanted to buy it and everybody was selling it.
Exactly.
So isn't that futures contracts?
Yeah.
Right. So it's like, that's the same exact thing, right? Yep. So now tying all this to everything that's happening right now, what do you think about, what's your update on the COVID stuff? Because you've seen, I mean, it's become more political now than ever.
Oh, does
it even stop in November?
I think the new norm is we're never going to see the norm that we had. There's going to be a new norm.
The masks, the whole thing, bro.
Yeah.
It's just...
And you said something to me that resonated with me, and I'm starting to see it more and more. I don't remember which episode it was on.
Right.
It was on one of them. But you said the masks are starting to desensitize people from like human interaction. And you know what? I was at a baby shower, and it's a real thing. Like you can't even...
Is everybody wearing a mask?
The baby shower was a drive-by. And it's not even, and I love them. I'm not calling them out in any sense of the way, but I'm just picking up more and more things that are slowly getting away from human touch and human connection, and they're driving fear into people still.
I feel like, and Riley mentioned this kind of the other day. She was saying how, like, imagine if they were just covering our faces, like this part, so just your eyes showed, so they could start scanning us. And I'm like, well, it's not exactly that because you've already scanned your face into your phone and they've sold that data. Like, that's already been done. But in the same sense, imagine if they've realized that if we just did that, just what that would do to, like, the human experience. Like today when I went to the doctor, how you doing? Fine. I don't even smile at her. I just said fine. I never say fine, bro. I've never ever answered the words "how are you doing" with fine, unless I'm pissed off.
Yeah,
and that's what I did because I didn't care. She's wearing a mask. It's weird.
You can't even I'm bringing up the baby shower again. Like, I got out of the car. I still hung out with them a little bit. I'm not scared of that. But other people, like I see them, I'm like, hey, how you doing? Trying to just introduce, and you go to shake their hand, and it's like, whoa, oh my god, that's a weapon. Get away from me,
bro. It's
like, whoa. Shit.
That's where we're at now.
We're getting far.
But then last night, Fauci's throwing the first pitch at the Nationals game. I know you haven't been on social media because you've been driving.
Yeah.
So Fauci's at the Nationals game last night, and there's a picture of him with the mask down around his neck. A couple pictures of him. So this is the guy, and he's sitting next to two people. There's nobody else in the stands because there's nobody allowed there, but him and two people are in the stands, and they're out in the open. They're not even trying to hide it.
Yeah.
And his mask is off. So there's that.
I mean, there's so many health things too that go into the mask. You're lowering your oxygen intake. You're putting your body under stress. You're creating cortisol. You're making yourself more susceptible to infection, viruses, disease.
Just touching that nasty thing, bro. Like you touch it, you put it on, you take it off, you put it in your pocket. It's gross. Like just touching that and letting something that gross. I thought like as a kid you were supposed to don't put anything in your mouth.
But it's the stress. It's the stress because lowering your oxygen is going to stress your body. And when you stress your body, your frequency goes lower and you're more susceptible to, like I said, viruses.
It's crazy. I feel bad. And so we had like a family thing last week where the COVID really did impact us. And it just is interesting how it's impacting people in so many other ways. Even let me give you another point. This is like even another layer out. Don't even need to go that specific. I was saying to Riley, I'm like, I think I pulled something in my chest. Like,
oh my God, COVID.
I'm like, I don't know what I'm like, I don't know. Like maybe I should just go to the doctor and get an x-ray. And then she's like, well, they might test you. And I'm like, oh,
They will
well,
test you.
Well, I'm not going.
Yeah, they will.
No, I'm not going to the doctor.
Yeah, another thing,
But think about how many, my point was, think about how many people are like that and they don't want to go, or they just don't think it's serious enough now because of COVID, and they don't go and they're dying.
Yeah.
Like there's that side effect. The suicides in California have gone up more than they've seen in a year. So there's a lot of other things going on that just aren't headline worthy, bro, because COVID. But what were you going to say?
I was saying that it back to what I said earlier, how it's desensitizing us from human interaction. I had a family dinner on Skype for the first time in my
bro,
life.
get used to it.
I'm like, wow.
But listen, like in reality, the vaccine will come out. Okay? Something's going to come. They're going to play the game with this company is coming out with it, and then this company, and they're going to pump stocks. Like some stock today is up 160% because they, whatever. I don't even follow it because it's the reason I don't trade stocks, right? So when the vaccine comes out, everybody gets the vaccine. Not us, but everybody that wants it can go get it.
Yeah.
Do we just take the masks off? Like, what would be the next step? The vaccine is available at CVS. You can go get it at the pharmacy. Okay? What are you all doing next?
I'm not.
Are you taking the mask off? Are we just all going back to normal?
I think this is what's going to happen. The people that get the vaccine, they're going to get a certificate or something to validate that they got a vaccine. And those people are going to be the people that are allowed to move freely.
That reminds me of like getting an armband on you as a Jew when Hitler was lining them up.
Yeah.
That's basically what you're saying.
That's what it's going to be. And it's going to be like, oh, you got your vaccine? Sure, you could go on the plane. Oh, you beat me to it.
Bro, that's because that's what I'm thinking. I'm like, that's where they're taking this. That's where
that
they want. Like, so, oh, you have the vaccine, you can come in this line. Oh, non-vax.
Yeah, non-vax, they're going to start separating that.
Bro, but wouldn't that be racist? Come on, Black Lives Matter and all this shit going on. Wouldn't that be then racist against vaccines versus, right?
Yeah, no vaccines, lives matter.
That's a racist. Yeah, exactly. I need a shirt. Write that down. Don't forget. Make a shirt. It's crazy. And I was saying to Riley, I'm like, with all of the protests and everything, like I said to you, like the mayor of Portland, Oregon was getting tear gassed. I don't know how to feel about the protests. And I also am not one of the people that feels like I have to comment. Like a lot of people, I'm sure you've seen on social media, they have voiced their opinion about the protest, but they're not out protesting. They're voicing their opinion on social media. I just
wish the protesters knew where to point their finger. They don't know what to do, so they just take what Johnny said. And I'm going to go point at Bill because Johnny told me to point at Bill. They don't even know.
Who should they point their finger at?
They should point their finger at the cause, at the root.
Which is what?
Which is government. They need to be in Washington, D.C. instead of protesting amongst each other and your skin is this, my skin's that. Or you want masks and I don't want masks. No, you need to go to the CDC. You need to go to the government, federal entities that are pushing these agendas and realize they're not here to help you. They made Black Lives Matter for a reason.
Right.
All these are reasons. And
they have an agenda.
They're falling for it. Yeah.
Right.
They're fishing and we're biting the bait.
And it's like the divide just gets thicker,
exactly.
deeper. What does the divide do? It gets
because
wider.
What are humans? In unity, we're strong, but divided, we're weak. And they're dividing us. That's what's happening.
So do you think people in that sense are also like looking to associate with something? When they feel lost, they graft towards something.
It's funny that you said that because I was just having a conversation with somebody and people love to feel like they have a reason to be alive. They want to identify with something. So if there's a movement and you feel like you don't have much of a purpose,
you can align with that and you'll get roped.
You feel like you have a purpose. Boom. I'll take it.
That's an interesting point.
Yeah. Brown hair matters. You know what? I have brown hair. Screw everybody with blonde hair. Screw the gingers. And then they're making humanity weak by doing this.
Right, because it lowers the vibrations of everything that we're talking
about.
I mean, like as we're talking about this now, I'm like, how are we even discussing still the difference in people's skin color? Like, how is that even a thing that has a word? Like, it doesn't matter. Like, it matters so little to everyday life.
Yeah.
The word race, I'm glad that it's created, but it almost shouldn't be created because I feel like the word race in itself is divisive. Mm-hmm. We all are one species with, when you add the race thing, and it just complicates it, in my opinion. We should have just left it at species and just called each other humans.
What's the saying that they have? United we stand, divided we fall. And that's so true. And they're dividing us and they're doing it in front of our face and not letting us see it. But yet they promote a quote like that.
Do you think another stimulus check is coming for the people?
1 billion zillion %.
You think so?
Oh, for sure.
And do you think they're going to extend the unemployment? Because today is... it's coming up.
I think not only are they going to extend the unemployment, I think they're going to extend the PPP loans. I think they're going to come up with a lot more.
And forgive them. They're going to literally forgive.
For sure. Oh, and they're going to turn into grants.
It's crazy because we had people like in our circle saying to us, how much time we got on that, Rye? You could stop it and start it.
Something popped in my head too. I was about to go off right there.
Go. Tell me.
So you brought up the stimulus things and a quote that came into my head that happened long time ago. I don't know if anyone knows it. I forgot who said it because I'm drawing a blank right now. But what they said was, I believe it was a president that said this. They said, people make the government. The government should not make the people. And we are in an age and society where the government makes the people.
Definitely.
That's why we're weak. That's why we can't even afford.
So what's your thought of like, how do we get strong? When people, like, how do you ever...
First of all, this message right now, we need to be educating people. We need to get this out there. Once more people could drop the beliefs that they have now and pick up ones that weren't handed to them by government or a political party that they want to abide by because they want to feel like they have a purpose, then we could start making a difference.
I just don't see that happening.
I don't either.
I don't
either, but at least we're trying.
Yeah. It's just... like Riley kind of brought something up similar to that a couple days ago, talking about like the future of learning with AI and stuff like that and kids and stuff. I don't have an optimistic future for the future of education in America. I don't have this optimistic view of the future. And I kind of do blame that on the leadership. You know what I'm saying? And like just a smaller point on that, we went at it a little bit when we were talking about, remind me, Trump did something and then I said it is his fault. What was it? The point... Yeah. So they sent out 1 point something million or billion to dead Americans with that first stimulus check, to dead people. And I blame Trump. And she goes, you can't blame Trump. And listen, I do support him on some things, and I'm unbiased as much as I can. But I blame him there because of poor leadership. He hired the wrong people were in charge, and he's the top dog. So you as the leader take responsibility, bro.
You go to the root.
Yes, that's what. So I just think part of my hopelessness in looking even to leave the country soon is because of our leadership, because the leadership is weak.
But then again, it's like, where do we go to even escape it?
Well, we could sit in here and talk about that. New Zealand, that's on I'll throw out New Zealand. I'll throw out Switzerland. I'll throw out Canada, but it's cold as hell. It's cold.
No.
And dude, so I don't know.
Definitely not Canada. They're worse than us.
But I know if Joe Biden wins, they're saying the taxes are going to go way higher. And I don't want to pay 50% of my income.
Let's talk about taxes for a reason.
All right.
I feel like, I don't know if you've ever read it. I think everybody should read it. Peter Schiff's father has a book on taxes. I think it's called like The Federal Mafia or something like that.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's amazing. It was one of the best. I haven't even finished it, but from what I've read, one of the best things I've read. Because it's an eye-opener.
Really?
Yes.
Sure.
It's a big eye-opener. So taxes were never supposed to be a thing. Taxes are illegal. Taxes are also voluntary. So when taxes became a thing was when we would go to war for funding or whatever it is to be funded.
Correct.
Then they would stop.
Right.
The problem is, how do you give up that power once you have it? Now it's become a norm to where taxes don't need to stop because it's so normalized. People feel
they have to pay it. They're conditioned.
And how could they stop that? They can't. The government doesn't produce anything.
Nothing.
So they need funding. Why would they cut it off?
Right.
If that's what's keeping them afloat and giving them the power. So yeah, taxes are illegal. They're voluntary. But they've become normalized to where taxes aren't even on the Constitution.
So what do these European Democratic, whatever you want to call them, what are they doing when they charge such a high tax rate? Is it because they are leaning socialist?
Yeah, 100%.
And you're against that?
Very.
Yeah. I think, where could we go in the world that's free market? Is there any free market?
I don't think you can go anywhere. No,
because the dollar is so entangled in everything.
Yeah.
So now with the way the dollar is collapsing, when you're trying to flee the country, and of course we're just entertaining a conversation, but if you were, with the dollar collapsing and all these other currencies tied to it, something new needs to come up, right? Isn't that what happens here? Something dies and something's born?
Yeah, I mean, have you ever heard of the SDR basket?
No.
So the SDR basket is essentially, if the world reserve currency was to collapse, we have this currency that we bundle together with like many different things to make a universal payment. I don't know if it's going to be true, but there is an SDR basket.
Do you think it would go digital?
For sure. Cash is already going bye-bye, you know?
Right. How are they going to do that? How do you see us transitioning to cashless? Do you see that happening soon?
Yeah. I mean, they could come up with many reasons. You know, it's better for the environment, 1. 2, we don't want to transmit germs because of COVID. Well, so why do you want to touch cash?
Oh, of course.
Yeah. There's a lot of things that could make sound reasonable, like, oh, makes sense. Yeah, fuck cash.
It's kind of gross.
It is.
Like when you think about it, when they're like, it's kind of weird that we live through this time where we can put out a message on the internet that disagrees with the mainstream thought, and have it be nearly equal to almost everyone else's voice. The only difference is the views. Who's looking at it?
Oh, for
you know
sure.
what I mean? We're all putting it out on the same platform.
I actually got kicked off of Spotify.
Did you really?
Yeah. For that COVID video I did. It's still on iTunes, but I got kicked off Spotify for speaking what I had to say.
Damn.
Yeah.
Banned.
Yep.
That's crazy, bro.
It is. They won't even let us have an account with them anymore at all. But yet Joe Rogan can go and he has a Spotify. You know, he had that big deal. He can only do content on Spotify.
Huge deal.
But he could have people on there that will speak against or speak amongst conspiracy theorists and XYZ.
Right.
And nothing will happen to him because of his following.
Is that what it is?
I think so. I think so.
What do you think? I mean, he's one that's always been talking about aliens. Today I saw he actually posted something talking about the government. I sent this to you. The Pentagon on UFOs. They are off-world vehicles not made on this Earth. The New York Times reports classified Pentagon hearings on crashed/recovered UFOs. Quote, off-world vehicles not made on this Earth.
I don't even know what to say about that.
I mean, I don't doubt it.
That's the thing. I don't doubt anything anymore.
So then I'm driving back from the doctor this morning and I'm like reading that. I send that over to Riley and I'm like, dude, if they did say that there's an alien invasion happening,
I believe it.
I'd believe it.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, everybody would believe it. We're at this point where I feel like as Americans, especially in Europe, it seems to be a little bit different. They're like over COVID and they're kind of laughing at us, but I feel like we're bent over the table with our pants at our ankles.
Yeah.
That's what I feel like. They could literally say it's raining meatballs and everyone would be like, get the meat grinder. We got to break up these meatballs. Like, you know what I mean?
You know what you just said? You just talked about meat.
Yeah.
I was just listening to something and reading on it a little bit. They're trying to jack up on purpose. This is not the first time. The first time was in the Great Depression. The prices of food. They're actually incentivizing farmers not to farm by paying them.
I've heard about this.
It's so they could inflate the prices of food.
Why would they want to inflate prices of food when the value of the dollar is already losing strength? Like the dollar's already losing. I mean, today, dude, the dollar index is down under 94. I'll tell you right now.
Yeah, I've been so detached. I haven't even looked at any prices ever since last week, Monday.
But why would they want to do that?
Control. Why do they want people that are not federally backed by the government to be able to produce agriculture and promote to a society? So if we had more free market style environment where we could have farmers, you know, go about and produce all their own agriculture and sell it, there would not be high prices because he's selling corn for $2. I'm going to sell it for $1.
Right.
But when the government gets their hands in it,
you can only sell it for $6.
they're trying to do price controls and they're going to buy up X amount of land, X amount of things and just completely monopolize it. So farming can't even be a thing. It's going to be a thing of the past if they do.
Oh, I don't doubt you.
Yeah.
But that's why, again, like it's like when everybody listens to us, I hope they don't think that we're like doomsday people.
I'm a doomsday.
I know you are,
Yeah.
but you're more than me. But we're not saying that the end of the world is coming. But when you look at these facts, it's like in America, it's not headed in the right direction. This is not the way we should be moving.
Yeah.
And the answer is not Joe Biden. That's for sure.
It's not at all. And I'm not.
Dude, Peter Schiff should run. Or Mark Cuban should
100%.
run. They should run. But you know what?
He did run.
He did.
A while ago, I think.
Really?
For Senate or something.
Oh, I did know that.
For a while ago, though.
But the problem is, and you and I have said this multiple times, smart people don't want to be in office, bro. They don't want anything to do with this stuff at all.
Yeah.
They want to run their business, make enough money to avoid it. The same thing that you and me are trying to do.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I mean, Trump, as much backlash as I'm going to get, he was smart going into it.
Why?
Because he talked about how we don't have free markets anymore. We are a big bubble, blah, 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 blah. All these things. He was basically doomsday.
Yeah.
Got in office. Now he's gloomsday.
Right.
Everything's
because
great.
he pumped the stock market.
Exactly. Well, yeah, in a sense, yeah.
I mean, he did.
Yeah, he did.
He had the greatest bull run or whatever he'd like to say. I'm looking at the dollar index right now. It's down 0.42%, 94.38. So it's down now for the year. It's down now over the last, over the last 3 months, down about almost 6%. There's your chart. Taking a pretty rough beating.
Yeah.
So people were like, well,
You want to know why the dollar hasn't collapsed fully yet?
Why?
I'll tell you.
Well, because the world's too tied up in it. We're too tied up with China. Everybody's using the dollar. It's too everywhere.
Yeah. The reason why we haven't had that's
The debt is
essentially right.
Because the debt is denominated in dollars?
Not only that, it's because the only reason why we haven't experienced hyperinflation, because all this currency that we're printing, we could offshore it on other countries.
What does that mean?
Like we could take that money
and
dump
give
it
it
on
to
other
another
people.
country.
Yeah, but if it was all here, forget it.
Oh, it'd be toast.
Done.
Right,
We'd be
because we'd be having wheelbarrows of it.
Oh, for sure. We beat Zimbabwe.
Right. That's what happened with them. So now if we start sending the money out,
we're doing exactly what they're doing too, and it's people think it's going to be a different outcome.
It's weird because I think also they look at it like because we're the world reserve currency, that's why it's going to be different. But it's weird too. Aren't we taking in more gold more recently? Like as the government is trying to collect itself in gold, right?
They're buying crazy amounts of gold,
right?
Especially Russia and China,
right? And it's interesting. I think Peter Brandt posted on Twitter. It was like the U.S. has more tons of gold than Germany and 2 other European countries, not the UK. It was like Germany, France, and somebody else, all in the EU combined, basically. So it's weird.
One thing I always say: watch what they do, not what they say.
Right.
Because they don't even cover gold. They don't even want to talk about it, but they're buying it. So watch what they do, not what they say. They had gold illegal. There was an actual, I think it was 1913.
Right. It was illegal.
Fact check me.
Yeah.
They would confiscate the gold if you didn't turn it in.
Right.
They would literally come to your house and.
So what's going to stop them from doing that now? I think everybody has too many guns.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know what's going to stop them. I can't see that far.
Did you vote for Trump?
I've never voted.
Nice. Okay, good for you.
Voted, yeah.
Like that, good for you. That was my initial gut response. Good for you. Because, dude, I don't want to vote this year. But anyway, so Trump said, I'm pivoting subjects a little bit, but he said yesterday or 2 days ago, when they asked him about Ghislaine Maxwell, he said, I wish her well. That's what he said, bro. So this girl is accused of raping little kids in whatever scheme they're tied up in, and he said, I wish her well. Isn't that interesting? So my thought, and I want your feedback on this, is that Trump himself is literally like I think the saying is a wolf in sheep's clothing, where go back 20 years, like you said, Trump was a free market Democrat trying to get into the elites. But Trump
went right wing after, though.
Right. Well, now he is.
Yeah.
But he was a Democrat. He was friends with the Clintons. He was, I think, deep down, at least
that's why he's able to expose them.
But this is, for sure. But this is why I think it's just my information and what I've gathered from watching a couple episodes with interviews with people that he worked with. I think he was a daddy's boy, right? And he was following in his dad's footsteps. And I think he wanted to get into the elites, if there is a and he couldn't. And I think that also led him to be more right-wing now than ever before because they didn't accept him. Because he knows Epstein. He knows Maxwell. He knows all these people. There's tons of pictures with them. Like they were together.
Makes complete sense. I mean, do you know what the agenda is behind these elites? Like the reason why we keep seeing all this human trafficking things coming up?
Does it have something to do with drinking child blood?
Yeah.
Yeah. And same thing that probably about drinking piss in that book over there.
Yeah, it's called adrenochrome.
Right. This is what Eric was talking about. It's what happens when your blood produces adrenaline, right? Or when you're producing adrenaline. Okay, so explain.
So that's their currency.
Are we going to get banned on YouTube for this?
Probably.
Watch them take this down. Okay.
They might.
It's great.
They actually might.
But keep going.
Hopefully so I'm not going to go too deep because I don't want to either, one, get us kicked off or sound too crazy yet. But so a couple names. You have Hillary, you have Obama, you have Gates, Elon Musk, and the list goes on. All these people are addicted to this thing called adrenochrome. And adrenochrome is extracted through kids. And the reason why is because when you're a kid, you're always in fear. You're scared of the dark. You're scared of things. And your fear is so amplified that the amount of adrenaline coursing through you is far greater than coursing through an adult.
Interesting. So
they actually extract the blood via organs. That's why there's been so many organ trafficking things going on.
Is that the organ harvesting thing in China?
Exactly, yeah. They're able to extract the adrenochrome from that, and they turn it into a drug, essentially. You have Ellen. She's hooked on it. You have Lady Gaga.
How do you know they're hooked on it?
I'll send you the link.
I want to know.
I'll send you... Okay, so all of them are a part...
Those are some accusations, bro.
They are. And that's why I'm going to get called crazy probably, but it is what it is. They're in a group. They're in a group that is...
How much money you got to make to get in this group?
I wish I knew.
50 billion? Keep going.
Probably something along the lines of that. But they're in this group it's a satanic group, and I'm not religious in any way, but whether you want to call it a negative group, a Jesus group, a devil group, whatever you want to label it.
Do they all meet?
They do.
Interesting.
They do. And they have rituals. They have all these crazy things going on.
Is it all in California?
Well, a lot of The Weeknd, I sold my soul. Kanye, I sold my soul. So one of the rules is they have to say they sold their soul. That's part of it.
Really?
Yeah. They're selling their soul and making it public, desensitizing you from it. Oh, that's so silly. You sold your soul. You can't really do that. You can take your soul out of your body. No, they're selling their who they are to this entity, whether you want to call it a satanic movement, a negative movement, I don't care.
Okay.
They're selling it to this cult. Let's call it a cult.
Okay.
So they sell their soul to the cult, and this cult uses these celebrities to push ideologies. They write their lyrics. They say, they go, you're going to be in this movie. You need to say these things. You're going to go on stage. You need to do this. And they control all these things to not only desensitize people, but also influence people.
Of course.
Have you seen the humongous spike in drugs of like opiates and benzos, all these things? They're getting people hooked on it. All the rappers that talk about it also talked about selling their soul. How can we keep people dumb? Put them on drugs so they can't think.
Right. I definitely agree with that.
So put them on drugs that they can't think. Well, you can't just say, oh, go to the doctor and start taking this drug. But what if your idol tells you to start taking these drugs?
Right.
Because
we know the rappers have glorified taking drugs and stuff like that. So you think, at what point did you really believe? Because I mean, of course,
I'm going to keep
crazy.
going. Yeah, I'm going to keep going into
what
this.
What point made, like, what sold it to you that you're like, you know what, there probably is a group of them and they are probably meeting?
I've seen court orders.
Really?
For sex trafficking, kids, all these. I know many different symbols that.
And you just think it's...
Have you ever heard of Pizzagate?
Yeah, I have, but I thought it was all bullshit. You know what I mean?
Man.
No?
It's real.
Really?
It is real.
Really?
Yep.
So, how do we know, I guess is my thought. Because, listen, I try to be in the middle.
Yeah.
I can't say anything is real until I see with my own eyes. I'm
I know,
not going to say
I'm the
Hillary's
same way.
innocent, but I'm not going to say she's Pizzagate. How do we know? You know what I mean? That's because really, I think a lot of people are the same way. I think a lot of people sit in the middle and they want to be unbiased, but instantly they turn the TV on, they get biased. You know what I mean?
Well, who owns it? The
Right,
cult.
of course.
They own every single media outlet.
That is true.
CNBC.
It's all monopolized.
Clinton News broadcast. You know, it's all these things are owned by them. Of course, they're going to push their agendas. They're going to put a bad narrative on Trump to make people not like him because they know he knows too much about their scheme, the things that they're doing.
You think
the adrenochrome, the adrenochrome not only gives them the high that they're looking for, it keeps them young. It keeps them youth.
And you think Epstein was in on all this?
100%.
So how
his
does he...
island was all for it. That's where they did all the rituals.
Right. That definitely seems...
Well, look, where there's smoke, there's fire.
Oh, that's always true.
Yeah.
So now, what do you think she's going to tell? You think they have the prince? Like, you think they got Andrew? That's my theory. I think it has something to do with the royal family.
Oh, for sure.
I think they off Jeffrey.
Even the Queen Queen Elizabeth, she's deep into that as well.
Well, I mean, think about it. These families have been around for so long.
Soros is a part of it.
You don't think that is the only thing that I need more info on. I want you to send me more info on the Soros stuff because, like, my thought towards him when I hear people say that, because like her uncle would say some stuff about him to me. It's like Soros funded the Antifa people, and I see that. I see the conspiracy talking about that on the internet. But I look at it and I'm like, you know what? I want to believe unbiased, whatever the facts are, and the facts out in the public are that from one side, and the other side saying he's a billionaire who's donated a lot of money and done a lot of nice stuff too, and there's that, and there's that.
Who's saying that though?
Right, the narrative that you're saying is owned by the cult. Right, of course. So it's like you want to, but that's the narrative that I guess they play to. You're saying because they know I'm a human, they know I want to believe the good in people, and they know that I'm going to lean that way more than believe the crazy idea.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Trust me, when I heard
because everything's crazy until it happens.
It is crazy. And when I heard
it's crazy to hear Jeffrey Epstein would be smuggling kids and convincing girls to give massages for $200. Like, it's crazy. That would never happen, dude. An old dude getting girls to 800 girls in rotation. That would never happen. But then it happens.
You just sparked a light bulb in my head. So it's like I said, they have to put the message out that they're part of this cult, whether it's saying it in songs or going on stage and saying certain things. But they put it in a lot of movies and in kids' movies too. So let's talk about Monsters, Inc. You seen it?
Yeah.
Of course, right?
Right.
You don't see anything wrong with it, right?
Right.
But now let's break it down. So adrenochrome is produced when kids are scared, right? What's the movie about?
Scaring the kids.
Scaring the kids. And what do they do when they scare the kids? They extract
the tank.
the currency.
Yeah.
They even said in the movie, this is the currency of our town. That's exactly the currency of the elites.
Interesting. It is a crazy idea.
They desensitize you from it. They show it to you so it doesn't look crazy.
Yeah.
But if you say it's real, oh, that's crazy. Come on, that's a movie. How could a movie be real like that?
And you think that they're able to do this because this is where all those missing kids go?
I don't know where they go, but
right.
They're missing.
Back where we used to live in Harrisburg, there's like a big trucking highway, and the cops would be trained to spot sketchy, I guess you would call it, trucks that could potentially have kids in them, and they would find them stuffed with kids.
Wow.
Yeah. 18-wheelers, bro.
It's a real thing.
It's crazy.
It's a real thing.
And you wonder how bad is it? Because we don't hear about it. Like
I've even gone deep enough to find the symbols where you could actually order the kids, and you could order it straight through certain pediatric offices, and they'll put it in their logo.
That's crazy.
They'll put it in the and if you, it's like that thing, if you know, you know. So like if you see that logo, okay, I could order little girls there. If you see this logo, okay, I could order little boys there. And it sounds insane. I don't even like saying it. I don't even like going this deep because it's disgusting.
It sounds crazy.
And the first time I heard it, I didn't believe it for months. But I kept seeing smoke, and I would follow that trail of smoke, and there is a fire.
Do you think the Wayfair thing is true? That the Wayfair is selling kids too? Did you not hear about that?
No, I didn't hear about that one.
Yeah, that was an internet thing I thought was pretty funny. They were saying that Wayfair, the people that, you know, sold us the bed frame and the shit in our bedroom, that they were...
Dude,
you
actually,
could go in there and...
now that you said that, there is a lot of brands that are behind it. Like
That's crazy, bro. You have
a lot
to
of
realize
baby
it's
brands, too.
crazy.
A lot of baby brands.
Crazy.
Yeah.
If they're out in the public, like on the internet, like not even the dark web.
Yeah.
If that's true, dude, there's no hope for humanity. We're all a bunch of degenerates.
Well, then again, how can anything be crazy, right? We're on a floating rock in the middle of nowhere, spinning around a ball of fire, and we all have individual...
So you're like, it was all crazy until it was true.
Everything's
like
crazy.
Like I thought the earth was flat until it wasn't.
Is it?
Right.
I don't know.
Right.
But like, how could anything sound crazy these days?
Yeah, that's kind of what I was saying about the aliens. I'm like, if they came down and said that aliens were here, I'd be like, oh, okay, cool. Let me get my ray gun.
Yeah, literally.
So do you have any ideas of like what your future is? I mean, I don't think you're going to leave the country anytime soon. Now you're getting a new place in Florida.
Yeah.
Right.
Got a new place in Florida.
So what's the future?
Yeah.
What's good with the 1%ers? What are you trying to do there?
I'm really going to stick to 1%ers and push it. I started another company called 1% Digital where I offer edits and website designs, website maintenance, etc.
Smart man, bro. Smart man. Because like most people are going to be looking for that.
Yeah, for sure.
I think as more and more people start to build their own brand and stuff like that, they're going to be looking for that.
Yeah, so I think it's important to...
But how do you keep the 1%ers small while you're still trying to grow?
I don't know if I'm going to... I don't know if I'm going to keep it small, but I think I grew a little bit faster than I could chew.
Got it.
I took a sandwich and I bit more than I could chew.
That's fair.
So that way I took this week off, chill out. I haven't posted much educational stuff on my Instagram. Calm down a little bit because I want to provide fair customer service. And if I'm growing too fast, I'm not going to be able to give that to everybody.
Do you ever get to the point because you are making money trading that you're like, I don't want to do social media anymore?
For sure.
So how, like, what keeps you on?
But I think I'm really passionate about giving information. It even shows up in my astrology chart.
Bro, I think that's why we get along.
Yeah, I'm really passionate about it.
It's interesting.
Even if I didn't make $1, I would still scream to the hills.
Right.
Feels good.
Well, because also it's like you and I like to gather information. I think you're a pretty curious guy.
Yeah,
I'm a pretty curious. So it's like if we ask questions and we find out something, it's like I'll share the information.
Oh, for sure.
I think the problem with being curious, at least where it's led, I think a lot of other people, is that they just believe everything too quickly without questioning it, without doing a lot of research like you have done, or you know what I mean? And I think over time, those people end up fading. You know what I mean? Like
I like that you said that because I always say, don't believe me, research it. Same thing what I just said, everything about adrenochrome, don't believe me, research it, but don't research it on platforms that are owned by this cult, like Google, like Safari, all these things. Go to like
Brave,
Duck. I like DuckDuckGo a lot.
I haven't tried that one.
That one's good. Brave is amazing. I have it on my phone. That's all I use.
Yeah.
But then again, it still routes you to Google sometimes.
It does.
You got to be careful.
I don't know. There's definitely a piece of me, bro, that definitely still feels like I want to live blissfully ignorant and use Google and think that they're not selling my data. And I think there's a lot of people like me that still have that piece of them, but don't want to admit it. At least I admit it.
Someone said to me, ignorance is a bliss. Then why do we still search for knowledge?
That's good.
That is good, right? I was like, wow. Never put that together.
Do you ever think that you would like limit yourself to just trading and stop educating? Do you ever see like, because YouTube is owned by Google and you see all these, you'd have to start your own platform. You would
essentially, or have, there's a lot of crypto back like web browsers, like you said, Brave, but also social media ones like Steam. And I think the way innovation is going, we could get to an area where people are allowed to speak their words and say whatever they want.
Do you think it could change?
I do. And the only way it's going to change is by putting the power back into people's hands.
So how do you do that? What's like the first step?
You just got to really
spread the information.
But you need to actually act on it. Like everybody can know, but start participating in free market activities, get out of currency, get into money. So let's break those down. Currency is just a form of quick payment. Money stores value. Currency does not. Currency devaluates. So start learning how to find real value, find real money, and put your net worth
Not
into
in
money.
fiat.
Yeah, not into fiat. Money needs to be divisible, which gold and silver is, or Bitcoin is.
Is this all what you go over in your course? Kind of.
Similar, yeah. Yeah, I do.
And
I'm always adding to my course too.
So when I link this, as we wrap it up, when I link it, where do we want to send people? Right to the course? So if I put the link down below, they can go find out more information on how to like get closer with you and get more information on this stuff.
On the website, you just scroll down and it says like invest now or start now.
You got merch on there.
I have merch, yeah.
You got the podcast running.
I got the podcast running.
When are you going to do some YouTube videos?
Good question. Once I get an office like this, you're killing it.
Thanks, bro. Listen, you got the new house coming up now.
Bro. I'll figure it out.
And then the tax write-offs of having that for the business too.
We'll
Save that for our next episode. We can talk about that. But
that's funny you said that because I was just in St. Augustine and I handed the guy my personal debit card and I was like, actually, let me give you this one because I'm going to write it off.
There you go.
And he swiped it. He came back. He's like, what is this? What's 1%ers?
Hey.
Yeah.
So for everybody watching, make sure you check out Matt's group. I'll put the links down below. Dude, I appreciate you making the drive out here. I think we might have to do this. I mean, hopefully we'll do the next one at your place. I can bring this.
Yeah.
This whole thing is mobile.
Oh, wow. We hit 55 minutes already.
Yeah.
Nice.
Dude, the whole thing's mobile. We can make this happen anywhere.
For sure. Next time you come down south.
We got the young Riley.
Yeah.
The young Jamie.
Yeah. There you go.
But for everybody, make sure you follow Matt. Make sure you check out his channel on Instagram. Check out the website. And we'll see you guys in the next video.
Take care.